Okay, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to student. I believe most of you, all of you are final year student. Okay, I'm not sure whether you know me or not. Tak tahu lah. Saya pernah ajar ke tahun 4 ni? Tahun 2 dulu kan?
Nah, doktor.
So, saya semua dah lupa saya kot. Okay, actually I was invited by the department to give some talk on publishing final year project. I'm not the right person actually because I'm still learning. There's a number of others actually who are better than me, but I've tried my best to share my experience. So slide saya bergerak ke tak gerak?
Tak ada kat front page ni.
Lagi sekejap Okay, ni gerak Okay, alright. So as you all know, you first before you start your final year project, you must understand. Oops. Objection. Probably. Okay, sorry. Okay, first you have to know why you need to do your final year project. Of course, the first thing is based on the requirement from the university to graduate, where this course normally covers the aspect of planning and executing your own project. So this kind of requirement includes title selection, and then you need to do some critical review of literature study, and then also you need to design your own research method or experimental work, and then to perform your work strategy. Also, you need to collect and analyze your own data, documenting and presenting your project output. The second one, normally we want to assess your own ability, because when you want to do your final year project, it is aimed to demonstrate your skill and knowledge, from where you have studied from first year until your final year. And then this is also a task that must be accomplished individually by every undergraduate student, especially in degree program. It also, in this context of final year project, normally it's a crucial role where you want to do some teaching learning process, because at the same time you also teach yourself and then learn yourself. Sometimes a student always ask about what to do, what is the things that you need to consider and so on. So sometimes that things you can do learn it by your own, and then you also to link your idea based on your kind of project, whether it is a fundamental project or is it applied project or is it a consultation or industrial project, and link with your own knowledge, engineering knowledge discipline. And then finally also it is some of motivation, where it can allow yourself to choose your own method, tools, and make your own decision during your project development. This is where we assess you in terms of how you justify you defend your project, you justify all the result you have done, and then all the experimental things, the method, why you choose that kind of method, or what kind of technique and so on. Even though it is given by your supervisor, you yourself also need to understand why you choose that kind of method. Okay, this is some of the things that you need to do during your process of learning your final year project. Of course, first one, either you work smart or you work hard. So it depends on yourself whether you want to take a day off, you want to take a holiday or no holiday, or you are a type of person who like to complain, or you are a type of person who will always keep moving forward. So basically, based on yourself, but it is good practice if you combine both work hard and work smart. So sometimes when you do your hard work, you also need to do in a smart way. And then also you need to be prepared. Prepare here means that you need to learn a number of literature from number of academic books or journal. So for final year project, normally for my student, I always ask them to find at least 50 reference minimum. So from there they can learn by themselves first, and then they can. I want them to explain to me what their understanding based on their preparation of reading the literature reviews. This is where also when you do your literature review, you can design your research work also, or maybe some of theoretical framework. And then you can see how the previous researcher or previous study discuss their own result, and then how they highlight their main finding or key finding to explain what is their niche of their project or their research. And then also data collection, where you want to see whether is there any availability of material or equipment, especially in UPM, because of course when you want to do your final year project, you need to have all those things to run the experimental work or even for simulation also. And then you need also to identify where is the location you want to do your experimental work, because maybe some of you need to go here and there. Maybe the place is not at the faculty. Maybe some of you need to do your experimental work outside the faculty. So there's a lot of things need to be considered during the data collection. And then you also need to consider your time constraint. Basically for first semester, you have 14 weeks to run your own project. And then you have one semester break, and then another one study week, and then finally your 2 weeks of final examination. So that of times need to be considered when you want to run your project. Even from first semester and second semester, there's about a month of semester break. Normally students will return to their home place, but as for me, I would suggest you it's better to start early rather than wait for next semester. And then after you getting the data collection, of course, the writing part, which is I can say it's quite a tough part, where you need to carefully written your finding, and then do some formatting, and then do the presentation arrangement of result, and then you need to do some proofread. Even for proofread, even though you are not good in English, that is fine. There's a number of free software that can help you doing the writing, such as you can Google like Grammarly, Wordy, Typely, and etc. It easily can be found in the internet. So try to seek some of the free software in terms of proofreading part. So at least it will help you in the writing, because yeah, normally first draft or maybe a second or third draft from student will have a problem with that kind of proofread. Okay, so this one I've taken this information from a paper. The paper title is How to Write Your First Research Paper. But here you can apply it as for your own report. So the paper highlight about five stage. The first one is schedule your writing time, which is very important, and then create an outline, continue with draft, and then choosing the best revision strategies, and finally is the submission part. Sorry, before that, since I am Malaysian, sometimes I'm doing the Manglish, because that is part of the expertise of Malaysian, yeah, campur English BM kan. So for I'm not sure whether we have international student here. Do we have international student? Ada ke?
Yes, no, sir.
Okay, alright. So in case you cannot understand, I'm apologize for that. I will try my best to talk 100% in English. Okay, as for the schedule the writing time, in the paper mentioned, as stated by his framework, one of the researcher mentioned, it is a generative activity requiring motivation, and it is an intellectual activity requiring cognitive process and memory. So everyone knows writing is very hard. So it's very difficult process, and sometimes it can be at intense concentration and brain work. Especially when you already know that you have 2 days to submit your first part, right? So I'm sure most of you are struggling to submit it, to following that time. Okay, when you want to do the writing part, it is best for you to set your own time, whether 1 hour or 2 hours, depends on your capability. Which one, what time is most effective for you? Normally, people effective time is in the morning, in the early morning. But some people at night, and some people maybe in the afternoon, or everywhere during the evening. So you yourself need to set your own time schedule. Set your 1 or 2 hour, at least 1 hour to block your daily work, and then do that part to do the writing. Either very depends, maybe you can do a lot of page, or maybe just 1 page, depends. Even there's also a study from Yale University mentioned that one graduate student spend this graduate student means the postgraduate student. She do her writing at from 8 to 9 p.m. every day during when her lab was empty, when nobody's in the lab. So at the end of the semester, she was amazed by how much she accomplished without even interrupting her regular labs hour. In addition, they also doing the hard tasks first thing in the morning, contribute the sense of accomplishment during the rest of the day. So this positivity of setting your own time can help you to spill over your works and life, and also can give your positive effect for your overall attitude. So you can imagine how much if you take at least 1 hour every day starting from now. And then you can see how at the end of the submission day, you can see how many pages you have done to complete it. So keep in mind, the first rule is to create your regular time, and then make it as your own appointment. You set your own appointment to yourself in your own calendar. Most of you are using a smartphone, right? So you can set a daily reminder for yourself. You want to write at least 1 hour for your final year project. Okay, this is the second stage. I can say the second rule, which is create the detailed outline. as well discuss with your mentor or maybe your supervisor or your friends, your colleague. So the best way to start an outline, because this outline can help you to identify what you want to write in your final year project report, rather than you just put everything unnecessary statement or unnecessary information, so you can focus based on your own topic or your own project. So the first level in the paper mentioned that there's a 5 things, which is first one is what is the topic of your paper, here is your project, and then why is this topic is very important. So you need to identify why your project is very important. Doesn't matter what kind of project you have, all project is best for yourself. So third one is how you want to formulate your own hypothesis, and then how you want to visualize your result, and mean in terms of the arrangement of result, what is the output that you want to put in the report, whether, for example, for my case, in the composite material, maybe in terms of the mechanical strength or the energy absorption and so on. And then finally is very important, which is what is the major finding that you want to highlight. So this one is very critical for student, because sometimes student always explain about the surface result only, in terms of which one is highest, which one is lowest, the percentage, something like that. But they forgot to how can I say? Forgot to explain what's the important criteria behind the result and the finding. Okay, and then the second level is introduction. You narrow down to your research important, and then what you know about your topic, and then what is your own hypothesis, your objective. Your objective need to you can discuss with your supervisor how to create a good objective, because sometimes students will like to just put a very general objective. So when they present it and then the examiner ask the objective, they can't answer back, they can defend it. So you need to remember that examiner or your supervisor can ask you a number of questions. So it's yourself to identify what is your scope and what is your limitation. Limitation here, it means the limitation in terms of the project itself, not limitation in terms of the running the project. Limitation in running the project, such a problem because you don't have the machine or so on. That is another story. The important thing is focus on the project, the limitation of the project. Whether because when you want to run your project, there's a number of parameter or number of things can affect your end result. So that's why if you see, you have the scope and limitation in the final project. And then materials and method, what materials what you would like to use, and then subject of your study, whether if I'm not sure whether here some of you are doing in terms of the questionnaire or not, but I believe most of you will work on experimental work and or simulation. And then third one is design of your research. Design of your study, how you design it, the flow chart, how you want to start your first objective and then continue with second objective. What is the correlation between first and second objective? And then what is the activity of your first objective, and then what is the activity for your second objective? That one you need to consider. So from there, if you can identify it, you can explain clearly to the examiner or reader when they want to read your final project report. And then procedure, in terms of is there any standard you need to follow? You need to come up or maybe if there is no standard, either you based on the previous work or is it based on standard from industry or so on. So that's all those things you need to follow as well. Result, yes, like I said before this, most significant result. Of course, maybe some of you doing a lot of experimental work, so you will have a number of results. So here we can train you how to analyze the your skill to analyze what is the main finding or main significant result that you want to explain in the report itself. And then the supporting result normally to support your main significant main finding, and then why this kind of finding is the key finding. So that supporting result is your tools to justify or defend your main result. And then discussion and conclusion, of course, the major finding. If you have any question, just throw it out. No problem. I'll try my best to answer it. Okay. Third one is continue with your draft. I'm sure now you be familiar with your draft. This case maybe a little bit different because this case the paper talks in terms of research paper. But for your case, because since you are in first semester, so you will write your draft from chapter 1 to chapter 3. So basically, once you already read a number of literature, you also have to identify your method and then your flow of research activity or experimental activity. Then you can start with chapter 3 first. Because you already have that kind of material, and then after that you can continue with chapter 1 or chapter 2. Of course, when you go in second semester, some student maybe have during along their project experimental work, some of the objective and need to be changed. Maybe some of because of some problem with the equipment or materials and so on. So it depends. If you have changed it, so once you have the first draft, the idea is when you complete your first 3 chapter, then if you change your project, maybe slightly change, then you can just alter all the chapter 1 to chapter 3. Because it happens to my previous student. She have to change her project in week 8 second semester. So she's a bit struggle. So but finally she managed to finish it, and then she managed to publish in high-ranking journal. So that's why I mentioned in the beginning, try to get as much as possible literature and then start your own time to write. Okay, and then here continue draft is rule number 3 and number 4, which is you need to be accurate describing your materials and method. Don't change the point of view within one paragraph. And then you need to be clear and concise and very objective in describing your result. So I know maybe if you struggle with starting your report, you have to write whatever material that you already have. I mean, all of your notes you have during the first semester. In terms of you find the literature, you can have you have that the important notes, the important things that you want to write later on. That's why you need to have your own logbook, even though you still not yet start doing the experimental work or simulation. At least during your logbook, your own logbook, you can write anything what you have done from during the literature study, what is the finding that you have found, and so on. Okay, for the result section, normally people interest with your own result, and then and make sure you are following the right method, because this is when people want to refer your result, they also see your writing skill, and then it also can help you to improve or enhance your writing and analyzing skill in terms of finding your main what the key finding of your project. And then also in terms of the presentation of the result graph table, you need to do it based following the format, because format is quite important in a report. So make sure whatever format you get from the coordinator, make sure you follow it, and then try to check carefully line by line whether you have missing some information or not. Oops. Okay, and then in this draft also you have to, when you write, you need to know the rules number 5 and number 6, which is when you want to write, you need to make sure that your report is interest to your reader, especially in the introduction section, where you want to highlight all the element and the novelty, or maybe the niche of your own work. And then the sixth rule is you need to present your the principle, relationship, and generalizing in a very convincing tone. So the word that you are using in the report, try to use a very simple word. Don't try to do a very bombastic word or something like that, because even when you want to make it a bombastic word, sometimes it remove the main information, or maybe the main things that you want to highlight. So better to use a very simple word, but it is readable, so easy to understand. Okay, and then the rules number 7 is choosing the best revision strategies. So here, once you already complete all the writing, your full draft, either is it a first draft or second draft or final draft, make sure to do these two types of revision, which is macro structure revision, and then the micro structure level. Macro, as advised by some researcher in the paper, uh, he mentioned that the first draft always sound like hastily translated from Icelandic by a non-native speaker, means that it is quite common. First draft is hard to understand your report. So that's why from time to time you can improve it. And then macro structure in terms of the organization, the content, and then the flow, how you want to explain either from the literature, you want to mention what is the thing you want to consider based on the project. Because normally student from in the literature, they always put something that unnecessary thing, such as definition, even though it's important, but try to not purely highlight in the definition part, or what is this, what is that, something like that, because that one things quite common. So literature is where you want to highlight things that you is relate to your own work. What is the parameter from the previous researcher that are considered, and then what is the method, and then what is the result, the end result that should be presented, and so on. And then the microstructure revision level is where you use your skill to reread your report. You can start either from the your last chapter to the first chapter, and then start from first chapter to last chapter. Try to read many times, so from there you can see what is the missing information, or what is the grammatical error, or any things that need to be improved. So you can also give your report to your colleague or your friend to read whether they understand your project or not. So that's why. But if you are doing it last minute, so it will be a bit of problem. So better start early. That's why, if you remember, the first rule is set your own time, at least 1 hour or 2 hours. Okay, and then finally, of course, it's the time for submission. Take advantage of any feedback you gain from either your supervisor or your friend. If your friend read your report, and then once you have your publication, publication here means your final report, and then this is where is the most important achievement for you yourself. This means once your examiner or your supervisor already sign it, this means it's a time for you to celebrate. That means it's the end of your work, regardless what kind of grade that you have later on. But most importantly, you learn something from the writing skill, and then from managing your project. Try to take your project, treat it like you are engineer in a company that you're doing your own project. So how you want to deliver that kind of project, and then the report is the things that you want to present to your manager or anyone who are higher level, and then try to make sure it is not I'm sorry to say this word, because it's quite common in the UK. Mention if something is not good, they will call it as a rubbish. So it happens also to me. When I asked to one of the technician only, the technician said to me, "It is a rubbish." So take it the negative way in a positive way. So it means that they want to give you to let you be the best from your own skill. Okay, this is most of the challenge that you will facing during your final year project. If you can see here, side project is quite common for a student doing side project. Means that you will do assignment, and then not only assignment, maybe you play around with your friend, or maybe you have another important things. So try to focus one things at one time. And then the second part is this is final document is quite common when you submit your report. There will be a number of revision from your own supervisor or maybe the examiner until they're satisfied with that report. Then you can call it as a final one. And also, yes, read, write, rinse, repeat is a normal cycle when you want to do your project. Okay, another important challenge is you see here, trying is the first step toward failure. Normally we heard about failure is step to success, but here I'm not sure you know this cartoon or not, Homer Simpson. This cartoon say trying is the first step towards failure. So once you fail, it doesn't mean you are failed. So it is before you succeed, of course you have a number of failure. So don't be down with any failure you have. I mean, failure here maybe in terms of you run the project, or maybe you have difficulties in writing, and then maybe your supervisor or examiner doesn't accept your report at maybe a number of time you write, then they still don't accept that. Keep on trying as long as there's a time. So keep on moving to do the right thing and so on. And then this some of the things you need to ponder. This one in terms of education. If you see here, it's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit, and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. So in real life, it's normal. Uh, you will have a number of problem in your life, even during your even though you are doing a project, you are still in your final year, you have a number of problem. So it's how you manage your own problem, how you want to overcome that kind of problem. And then, like Muhammad Ali said, don't count the days, make the days count. So this one you can apply in terms of when you want to submit your project or report. Don't count how many days you can submit. Just make the days count. So make every day, takes every day is like your final day to submit. And then like Buya Hamka said, jangan takut gagal kerana orang yang tidak pernah gagal hanyalah orang yang tidak pernah melangkah. So never be ashamed if you fail, because like the previous slide showed, failure is the one step to success, even though trying is the first step to failing. Okay, finally, please remember, you always make dua, and then as written in the Quran, Surah Taha, oh my Lord, increase me in knowledge. I always use this surah as my personal motivation, because I want to keep increase my knowledge. Knowledge can be a lot of things, not necessarily in terms of education. It can be anything. Okay, I think that's all from my side, and thank you for your time. If you have any question, I can.
Assalamualaikum,
Salam.
Doctor.
Yep.
I got one question.
Mm-hmm.
So, what if our result from our project is not according to what we expected? Does it mean that our final year project is failed?
Sorry, say again. Tak clear soalan.
What if our result from the method that we are doing are not as we expected? I mean, like, it is not. The result is, yeah. The result is.
Okay. Alright, I think I understand the question. Means that you want the result to be like A, but once you do the project, run the experimental work, you get a result as B, something like that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that doesn't matter. It's because, like I said, it is a learning process. So even though you get a different kind of result, you just need to justify, or maybe during the process you need to observe why it is happen. Just justify like that, and then even though it is different from the literature, you can always justify that. Because I also have experience. I'm doing my experimental work, and I have a different result based on the literature. So all I need to do is just justify, because result is result. As long you do your method correctly, then you can observe what happened if you are getting a different kind of result. Am I answering your question?
Yeah. Yes, Doctor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Salam.
I have a question. Can I know what is considered a relevant material or irrelevant material for us to refer in doing this project?
Can you explain further what you mean by relevant and irrelevant material?
Like something that the paper that we use as our reference. Can I
Okay.
know how do we know that the paper that we use are considered relevant or not?
Okay, first of all, once you have the outline, you can identify which one is most related to your project. And then if you don't have that, maybe the number of the reference not enough, then you can try to open up to another paper that is maybe slightly close to your own material. So let's say you don't have that kind of reference that is very close to your project. So you can use any other sources that is slightly close to your own project. But of course, normally even dalam trees dia ada mention all things have available but in another place, something like that kan. Dia macam trees punya ada terms tu, dia kata semua benda ni ada tapi dia cuma kita tak tahu je kat mana. Mungkin ada kat tempat lain, mungkin ada kat tempat kita. So macam tu. Clear ke? Boleh faham tak maksudnya?
Betul. Thank you, Dr.
That's why I suggest you to take a lot of reference from either from journal or book. So at least from there you can identify which one is most related to your work and then which one is not. Okay. Any more question?
So I believe that's the only question.
Tak ada question? Okay, it's okay. I know maybe semua tengah struggle untuk hantar report kot. But that's okay. But one more thing I would like to suggest is if you think that your project or works is good enough, then it is good also if you can publish that. Doesn't matter it is a high ranking journal or just a normal journal or maybe a conference. As long you can have a publication from your project, it can be an additional what is a bonus for you when you want to find when you want to seek for a job later on. Because everyone have their final year project report, but what's the difference? Maybe you yourself have something that can explain in terms of the publication. Because publication normally the reviewer maybe comes from outside your institution or maybe from the other country, something like that. So at least you can show something different from common graduate student. Because as of today, from my previous final year student, most of my students managed to publish 2 in a journal, another 2 in conference. Yeah. So even though you don't have something yang orang kata you ada satu benda yang dapat tunjuk lah dekat company yang kalau nak apply kerja kan. Kalau dia tanya apa kepentingannya paper ni, at least that is the bonus part of yourself, because semua student ada final project kan. So at least you have something to be published, and then it's like people from the other side recognize your own work. So okay, ada lagi ke soalan? Tak ada. Kalau tak ada, saya pass balik pada moderator lah kot. And all the best for you for your final year project. And hopefully you can do well in your project as well in your writing report. Okay.
Thank you very much to Dr. Zuhri for giving us such informative and interesting presentation. And I believe it is very useful knowledge for us to publish FYP, especially for the final year student. So we finally come to the end of the part of this seminar. I would like to thank you so much to Dr. Zuhri and to the participant. Hopefully this seminar will be beneficial for everybody. So before we end of the session, can we picture. So please turn on your camera.
Ada ambil gambar ke?
Ada lah tak Aiza. Koordinator di sini. Patutlah.
Ah,
Koordinator 5P ada sini.
okay.
Semua takut lah nak tulis tau. Nak kena hantar dah.
Okay. Okay, I just want to say something. Okay, what Dr. Zuhri give on his talk is very, very beneficial to all of you. Okay, you not only can do good project, write good thesis. In the end, you can publish, and also if you can win the exhibition from the project, it will give you good experience as a student before you graduate. Okay, so I have given you already the format for thesis. Okay, and I have taught you in the class, and also format for the what we call papers, article or manuscript. I have given. Not yet. I will give later when in the second semester. So I really hope that all of you when finish your writing thesis, in the end you submit together with the paper or manuscript. Maybe if your manuscript is quality, your supervisor will publish in the good quality of the journals. Okay?
Okay, Doktor.
Itulah, itulah sebenarnya, Syaming. Okay? Saya tahu it's hard dan ramai yang tak minat. But I believe me, kalau you can do it the good project in final year student in final year project, okay, produce good result, it will help you later on when you work outside. Because a company during your interview semua tu, what you need to do is you have to you have to show what is the X factor from you. Winning the exhibition, got good grade in the final year project, and also extra curriculum such as PMT. Syamil, saya nampak gambar awak tu, Syamil. Saya tak nampak orang lain. Betul ke awak ke Zuhri? Sembilan ke? Okay, so benda tu boleh memberi manfaat pada you later on. Okay, saya tak nak cakap banyak. That's all. Thank you Dr. Zuhri. Dr. Izzah also. Lagi apa-apa lagi soalan, nanti tak apa soalan yang you tanya Dr. Zuhri, I will elaborate more when I for next semester. Saya akan bagi tahu lebih lanjut lagi. Okay. This all. Leader. Oh, leader.
Ya, Doktor.
Ambil gambar tu. Saya tunggu ambil gambar ni.
Tak ada orang tak nampak kamera pula, Doktor.
Semua tak ada depan PC ni.
Mana? Saya tengok dalam tu macam ramai nak sampai 49. Student 48. Kalau tak ada, tak apalah. Okay, thanks again to Dr. Zuhri and Dr. Izzah and also our KJ artist. Stay with us. Betul ke? Ada.
Saya ambil gambar satu.
Okay, Azmira maybe boleh snap gambar sikit.
Boleh. Satu.
Cuba snap. Ya, cuba.
Satu.
Siapa tak buka kamera tak dapat markah tu.
Bahaya tu.
Dr. Aizah tengah ambil markah tu.
Okay. One more thing. attendance saya lupa nak buat ni. Izzah, what about attendance? Saya nak tengok attendance ni.
Ada semua recorded dah.
Siapa yang tak ada tu jaga. Okay, one more thing, don't forget, tomorrow is the last day for you to submit report, okay, before 12 o'clock midnight. Okay, so after that time, 0, okay, for the first semester report.
Tak apa, 0 part 1 je. Sem 2 boleh
Part
cover boleh kan?
Boleh doktor, boleh.
Okay, dah ambil gambar ke belum ni Zuhri? Izzah?
Dah.
Okay, dah hantar kepada Nurul Izzah untuk Nurul Izzah sampaikan kepada department that our seminar is successful today. Okay?
Okay, terima kasih semua.
Okay, thank you so much again.
Okay, thank you Dr. Zuhri. Jazakallah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Doktor.